What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review of Making the Cut, Season 1, Episode 6. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. So, this episode, we're down to 6 contestants, right? And so, we're still in Tokyo. So, the challenge this week is, the assignment this week is opposites, dichotomy. That was the word of the day, the dichotomy. And the opposite, so good versus evil, light versus dark, old versus new. And so the designers were challenged to find that opposite and their interpretation of it. And as always, they're doing 2 looks. One is the showstopper and one is the more wearable look. And so we have the designers trying to take in the criticism, interpret the criticism, and show the judges that they are listening and that they can adjust. So Renault won. So she's sort of on a high, but she's feeling the pressure of having to do it again, because up until that point, she sort of was in the middle. She wasn't high, she wasn't low, she wasn't getting a lot of attention from the judges. So, it was like, okay, I won, but now I need to let them know that that wasn't a fluke, that wasn't a one-time thing. We have Esther, who's saying, look, I know I need to use color. I hear what the judges are telling me. How can I trust myself? How can I push myself and come out of my comfort zone? I'm not that creative type. Like, my creativity is in words. I'm a writer. I'm a linguist. So I don't understand from a creative perspective what her objection is to color. It is clearly deep-rooted. I mean, it was giving her anxiety to try and incorporate color. And for me, I don't get it. And I know I'm not a creative, and so I'm not judging her. I'm not judging. I just don't understand. Because it seems to me that you have the talent, just pick up a different damn fabric. You can make the same design, just use a different daggone fabric, a different color. I don't get it. But what I do appreciate is that she said, I'm going to step out. I'm going to try it. I know that in order for me to take my brand and take what I need to the next level, that I need to come out of my comfort zone, and that's what I need to do. And then we have Sander. Sander was taking the criticism and was totally thrown. Let me tell you what's, because in the beginning of this episode, I felt one way, and by the end, I felt a different way. So let me tell you how I was feeling at the beginning when I was watching it. And I was like, he's throwing a tantrum, he's being a brat, and he's taking what they're saying and he's taking it to the extreme. And how do I know? It's because that's what I do. Well, not anymore because I'm grown. But when I was younger, when somebody would say something to me, I didn't like, I would get upset. I would take it to the extreme. I would throw a tantrum. I would get it all out of my system. And then I would pick myself up. I would dust myself off, and I would do what the hell I was supposed to do. And that's exactly what Sander did. He threw a tantrum, and he was pouting, and he was ho-humming and all of these things, and they wanted more wearable. That is just not what I do. I mean, if it's going to be wearable, I might as well just make a bunch of t-shirts, and that is, that's boring, and that's not fashion, and they're trying to stifle my creativity. They don't understand me. I mean, he was throwing a tantrum, okay? And he was talking about the judges, and he was saying, well, I'm just going to make a bunch of t-shirts. I mean, that's all they want anyway. They just want some t-shirts. I mean, it was really dramatic. He went to the fabric store, and he was, again, Sander, I get it. That is me. I hate to admit it, y'all. I hate to tell y'all that part of my personality, but that is me. I throw the tantrum, but then I get my shit together and I do what I'm supposed to do, right? They weren't telling you to make a bunch of damn t-shirts, right? And again, I would do that and be like, oh, well, you said that, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example that I could, I don't know, I can't think of a good example. But let's say somebody said, you don't use enough commas in your writing. So I would just put a comma every damn where. I said, fine. Then I'm just going to put commas everywhere. I'm just going to put commas. And then I know that's not what the hell they meant. And I would go back and I would do it right. You know what I'm saying? So anyway. So, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think that the designers, and the other thing is they're going to do a digital, like at their new studio, they have this beautiful staircase. And so they're doing a new, it's almost like a green screen when you see like YouTubers and stuff that have the green screens that they can project a picture and it's almost like that's the backdrop. So that's what they're doing on the staircase, where they're having these different backdrops as the models are coming down the staircase. And so they got to choose it, but it was a first come, first serve. And so they all got to, so they were trying to do two things. One, they were trying to show the dichotomy that whatever the opposite was that they were trying to do, but at the same time, make it flow with whatever background they chose, right? And so I think that was adding a little more pressure onto what it is that they were doing. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of the designers started with a clear vision of what their opposite was, and it got muddled. Somewhere it got lost in the translation of what they were trying to do. Sander was clear. He was clear in his interpretation. He was doing a couture or a creative versus simple. He was kind of throwing it back at the judges to say, okay, this is creative. This is what designers should be able to do. It should be allowed to do. And this is what you want me to do. Okay. It was sort of a thumb in his nose. But again, as he was going through it, he wasn't being as literal as he started off being. Esther was doing, I don't know what Esther was doing, but she did black and gold. I don't remember what her original thought was. I know she was trying to infuse some of the things she saw walking around the city and things like that. Ji Wong, Lord, I'm messing up the lady's name. Ji Wong. She was doing the traditional Korean garb. Hold on, I wrote it down because I didn't want to say the name wrong. Hobak. And then like a modern interpretation of that, sort of like a robe kind of thing. And Renaud was doing the traditional religious garb and then like a new interpretation. So the Hasidic Jewish suits that the men wear, and then like the Buddhist and like a modern updated Buddhist like Buddhist robes. I really don't know what Megan was doing. I liked it, but I wasn't sure what her opposite was. I know she said it, but it didn't. I think by the time she was done, that really wasn't what it was. But that's just me. I liked it though. Yeah, I know I like Megan. I liked Megan. And then Johnny, the same thing. Johnny was doing. I don't know, but I liked it. I don't. Because again, like I said, I think that where they started and where they ended up just wasn't the same. So I'm not gonna sit here and get into all because they didn't. It ended up being nice, but I just didn't see what they were going for. But Ji Wong got in her head, and when she had her TED talk, her Tim talk, I said TED talk, but you know what I'm saying, Tim talk. He let her know. He was like, "This one I like, that one not so much." Same thing with Renaud. He really, really loved her Buddhist look, but he wasn't crazy about the Hasidic Jew look that she was going for. Everybody else he had, pretty good feedback on, Tim. He was very happy and shocked that Esther was going for color, that she was including color. He was shocked, but he was happy to see it. So fast forward. I am very shocked, and y'all tell me, and this might seem like a small thing, but I am very shocked that they are showing so much of these designers smoking. And I'm not saying that because I'm judging or I have an issue with people smoking, but in this current climate where they turn smokers almost into criminals, like literally, they treat smokers like criminals. And I'm very shocked that a TV show shows so much of the people smoking, because they had Ji Wong out there smoking. Last week they had Sabado smoking. They done showed a few of the designers smoking, honey. And again, I'm not judging it. I don't care. It's not my business. But I'm just surprised. Y'all know what I'm saying. Those of you who grew up, like in my age group, where you grew up and you saw us smoking all the time, and now it's like you never, ever, ever see people smoking. Like, it is never there unless it is a part of the storyline as like, oh, they smoke weed or whatever. You know what I mean? But just as casual at dinner, coming home, having a smoke, you never see that anymore. Anyway, moving on. So, but Ji-Won was really getting in her head and didn't know what to do, and she was running out of time trying to figure it out, so that was that. So we get to the runway. Excuse me. We learned a little bit more about Will's background. I mean, Johnny's background. He grew up in a very religious home, and so he had to balance that with his sexuality, and so we learned a little bit more about that in reference to his background. Esther gave us a little bit more about who she was and how she always was sort of, always had to be felt pressure to be perfect. It had to be, that one person, always had to go above and beyond kind of thing. So again, as the weeks go on, we're learning more and more about our designers, the ones who are still with us. So we get to the runway, okay? Now, they've added a new judge. It's a digital person that has a large social media presence, influencer, a person by the name of Nori. I don't know. Noonri. I don't know. I don't know these people. But anyway, that judge was there digitally, child. It was just, it was just something for there. Something for the people, honey. Something for the culture. Okay. So Johnny started off the fashion show, and Johnny's backdrop was fire, honey. He was coming down the steps to fire, and it was the backdrop was gorgeous. Him coming down those steps to that fire, that thing was beautiful. Okay, it was absolutely beautiful. His two pieces, I loved both of his pieces. He played with patterns. He had plaid, he had houndstooth, it was black and white. He had a coat with leather strips and that play of patterns, and he had a hoodie. He likes hoodies. Now that's your second hoodie. Your second hoodie, Johnny. So you know how the judges get about stuff like that, honey. So you might want to, back up off the hoodie next week. You know how they get. But it definitely was beautiful. It was a show. I thought it was a showstopper. Like, it's almost a shame that he had to go first, but the judges loved it. And the judges loved the fact that they see that he is growing in his aesthetic. Again, he was a biker, leather jacket, leather pant, leather. It was a hard leather sell in his first couple of designs. But after they gave him the critique about finding different ways to infuse the leather into his designs, he has definitely taken that critique and he has run with it. And he is doing an excellent, excellent job of infusing it. And the judges see it and the judges appreciate it. And they loved that mixture of patterns with the houndstooth and the plaid and the different black and white. And like I said, I wish Johnny had, I'm giving it away, whatever. I wish Johnny had one because I loved both of those pieces. I would have loved to have purchased either one. Well, the coat, I think the coat wasn't the one, but it was the hoodie. But I would have bought that hoodie. That hoodie was cute. It was really cute. Anyway, so that was Johnny. And both, and they were, like I said, they were both really well done. Ji-Won, why one keeps calling her something different? Ji-Won, she had like a striped background, and she had a blue and white, she had a blue and white color aesthetic. And the first one was the robe, and it had her name written in Korean on it. And then the second one was like a dress. She had taken the Buddhist, not the Buddhist, the robe that Tim wasn't crazy about, and she turned it into a dress, but it had no form to it. It was short. It wasn't even asymmetrical. It was just like long and then short. And the judges didn't like it. I wasn't crazy about it either. The next person was Renault, and she had a real pretty like leaves that turned into a open like garden. Open field, not garden, like an open field. And it was really nice. Her first outfit, which was her wearable outfit, was like short, a design was like a gold and black design, and then she had a black top and like a gold jacket. I wasn't crazy about it. The judges were mixed on it. Naomi loved it. The rest of the judges really I didn't think were crazy about it. Her second look was that piece that she Tim did tell her that he was okay with, which was like that it was supposed to be the acidic. No, I take that back. It was the piece that Tim told her he wasn't crazy about because it was that acidic suit. She tried to adjust it, but it didn't. It just didn't work. The judges weren't crazy about it, and neither was I. I wasn't crazy about it, and I felt bad for Renault because it was almost like you went from first to last. Like you almost went from top to bottom. Hot to not. Um, so then we have Sander, and Sander had sort of like a Tron background. Y'all remember the movie Tron? Like it was like that. And he had two pieces. Now, I liked his two pieces and I thought they were definitely cohesive. It was like a tan pattern, and he played off of t-shirts. He had like a t-shirt design, but it was a dress. They were cute. I did like his weren't my favorite, but I did like it. And what he ended up doing was he ended up getting out of his head. He got over his little tantrum that he was throwing, and he realized what the judges was asking him for without, you know what I'm saying? He realized what the judges were saying. And so he took it and he made it wearable. I mean, sellable, which is all they wanted. Something that you could go into a store, that it can be mass produced, and you could go into a store and you could buy it at a reasonable price. That is it. Every designer has to figure out a way to do that. I mean, that's just fact. If you want to be successful, every designer has to figure out a way to do it. I tell people all the time, there's a difference between going into a store and buying a polo, or wrong side, a polo t-shirt that you could buy from the polo store, and buying a Ralph Lauren gown. But there have to be tiers. It's tiers to this shit. You know what I mean? So he did it, and the judges were happy to see that he was able to make that adjustment. I liked it. Esther had a water background, and she kept describing her looks as, like the beautiful fish underwater, and it did sort of have that iridescent type. She used, it was almost like the material that you use to make an umbrella with. I don't know. But it was a black dress, and it had like the bottom pleat, like had like a cutout, like a clear cutout where she put like I said, looked like raincoat or a clear raincoat material or umbrella material, like a clear umbrella. And then she had a gold one that was that. It was sort of that I don't know if I'm using the right word. Iridescent isn't the right word. But y'all know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, it's whatever. But again, the judges were split on it. They appreciated the fact that she used color, but they were split on whether they liked it or not. And Megan had this bad white suit, honey. That thing was beautiful. And the judges all agreed that is something they would purchase. That is something they would buy. They loved it. And then her second look had sort of like this silver thingy on it. It could have very easily gone aluminum foil-ish. You know what I mean? It could have very easily have gone the way of, oh my gosh, you just made an aluminum foil outfit. Or it could have been the way it was received. And the judges were receptive to it. And they understood that she stepped it up and that she was, again, taking in the critique, honey. Taking in the critique. So now we get to the critiques. They almost talked, they talked to Sander first. And he explained it. They liked it, and he explained it, and again, he was overthrowing his tantrum, honey. So he was able to explain it without sounding like a spoiled brat, without sounding like he was mad and how dare they tell me I have to do it their way. But he was over it. He really was over it. And once he explained it, they loved it even more. They loved it even more, and he was actually the winner. Johnny, they loved Johnny's looks. They gave him a really positive critique. Then we get to Ji Wong. They did not like Ji Wong's. They gave her criticism. She explained what it was she was trying to do. But the one thing they did tell her was that it's all looking the same. You're giving us the same look. Jumpsuits. That cross, the cross, the front part. They said it's all looking the same. It's all blending in together. And so they're cautioning her about trying to be different and trying to do something different. Then we get to Renault. And for the exception of Naomi Campbell, none of the judges liked what she did. And I think part of the problem is that up until last week, she wasn't in the front of the pack. So yes, you won last week, but I think now what they're thinking is, oh, that's just a fluke. You're a one-trick pony. Yeah, you did it last week, but we don't know if you can do it again. And this week, it was like she fell so far down that they really, truly were not happy. Naomi fought for her. She fought for her. She really, really did. Her and Heidi even got into a little bit of a tiff. But her and Heidi been friends for 5,672 years, honey. They went and had a glass of wine when it was over, and they moved on with their life. So it wasn't that deep. It wasn't that serious. Or nobody make nothing out of it. But they definitely disagreed. But at the end, Renault did not make the cut. Now, let me say this. We're down to 6 people. Somebody got to go. Somebody got to go. Renault, you just made it really easy for them because neither one of your looks wowed anybody except for Naomi Campbell. Yeah. So with that being said, you guys, that was it. I am really loving this show. I can't wait till next Friday so we can get the next 2 episodes. And y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Now, once again, honey, I'm trying to do this editing. You see, it didn't work last time. I don't know what the problem is with this, with what I'm doing. But trust me when I tell you guys that I'm working on getting the editing so that y'all can see the pictures as I'm talking about the designs. I'm working on it. We're going to try it again this week. Again, if you didn't see the pictures as we were going through, they're here.